To the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere.
Right now, as you are watching this video, bombs are falling on Tehran. The capital of Iran, a city of 9 million people, is shaking under the most devastating military assault the Middle East has seen since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. This is not a drill. This is not a simulation. This is not a rumor from an unverified Telegram channel. On February 28, 2026, the United States of America and Israel launched a coordinated, full-scale military attack on the Islamic Republic of Iran. President Donald Trump confirmed it himself in a video posted to Truth Social, declaring that the United States military has begun major combat operations in Iran. The Pentagon has named this operation Epic Fury. Israel calls theirs Lion's Roar. And as of this recording, massive explosions are ripping through not just Tehran, but Isfahan, Qom, Karaj, Kermanshah, and multiple other cities across the country. Iran's airspace is shut down. Mobile phone services have been cut. Smoke is rising over the capital. And Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps has already launched what it calls its first large-scale wave of retaliatory missiles and drones toward Israel. Sirens are blaring across Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Explosions have been reported in Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar, all of which host American military bases. This is not a limited strike. This is war, and the world just changed. Let me walk you through exactly what happened, how we got here, and what this means for the entire planet. Early Saturday morning, February 28th, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz announced that Israel had launched what he described as a preemptive strike against Iran. Within minutes, Iranian state media confirmed explosions across central Tehran. The semi-official Fars news agency reported massive blasts. Video footage from Tehran showed enormous plumes of smoke rising from multiple parts of the city. Then came Trump's announcement. In a video message posted to Truth Social, the president confirmed that American forces had attacked Iran by air and sea. He stated that the objective was to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime. He called the Iranian government a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. The targets were staggering in their scope. According to multiple reports, at least 18 major strikes hit sensitive locations in and around Tehran alone. Iran's Ministry of Intelligence was struck. The Ministry of Defense was targeted. There are confirmed reports of a strike near the offices of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei himself, the most powerful man in Iran, who has not been seen publicly in days. There are even unconfirmed Israeli reports suggesting the strikes may have included an attempted assassination of Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. Iranian officials later confirmed that Pezeshkian and Intelligence Minister Ismail Khatib survived. Outside the capital, explosions were reported near the Iranian Atomic Energy Agency site and the Parchin military complex, a facility long suspected of hosting weapons research. The scope of this attack makes it abundantly clear. This is not a surgical strike on a single nuclear facility. This is a systematic dismantling of Iran's military, governmental, and intelligence infrastructure. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu released his own video statement, saying the joint operation was launched to remove the existential threat posed by the terror regime in Iran. He thanked Trump for his historic leadership and addressed the Iranian people directly, calling on Persians, Kurds, Azeris, Baloch, and Awazi communities to cast off the yoke of tyranny. Trump went even further. In his statement, he told the Iranian people, "The hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. Let that sink in." The President of the United States is openly calling for regime change, while his military is actively bombing the country. Iran did not wait long. Within hours of the initial strikes, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps announced it had launched its first large-scale wave of retaliatory missile and drone strikes toward Israel. The IDF confirmed detecting multiple ballistic missile launches from Iranian territory. Air raid sirens sounded across Israel, including in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and northern communities. Several hospitals in Israel activated their emergency protocols, moving patients and ongoing surgeries to underground facilities. Israel declared a state of emergency, shut down schools, suspended public gatherings, and moved the country to essential services only. But the retaliation was not limited to Israel. Explosions were reported in Bahrain, where the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet is based. Qatar's defense ministry confirmed that an Iranian missile was intercepted by its Patriot defense system. Explosions were also reported in Abu Dhabi. The U.S. Embassy in Bahrain issued an emergency alert warning of imminent drone and missile attack and urged all American citizens to shelter in place. Similar warnings went out from U.S. embassies in Qatar, the UAE, and Israel. Meanwhile, Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen announced they would resume missile and drone attacks on shipping routes and on Israel in support of Iran. The entire region is now on the brink of a multi-front war, the scale of which has not been seen in decades. Iraq closed its airspace. Airlines began scrambling. Lufthansa suspended all flights to Tel Aviv, Beirut, and Oman until March 7th. KLM canceled its Amsterdam to Tel Aviv route. Jordan reported sirens sounding on its territory. The entire Middle East is holding its breath. To understand how we arrived at this moment, you have to rewind to June 2025. That is when the United States first struck Iran's nuclear facilities in what was called Operation Midnight Hammer. American B-2 stealth bombers and submarine-launched missiles hit three major nuclear sites: Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. The stated goal was to destroy Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons. Iran responded 2 days later by launching missiles at the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the largest American military installation in the Middle East. Remarkably, no Americans or Qataris were harmed. Trump claimed the Iranian government had given early notice about the strikes. A ceasefire was eventually brokered in late June, ending a brutal 12-day conflict between Israel and Iran that killed dozens in Israel and hundreds in Iran. But the ceasefire did not bring peace. Iran's economy was already in freefall. The country had been suffering from a crippling energy crisis for years, daily blackouts lasting 3 to 4 hours, with poorer neighborhoods in southern Tehran bearing the worst of it. Sanctions had choked off investment in the energy sector. The Iranian rial had collapsed to historic lows. Then came the protests. In late December 2025, massive nationwide demonstrations erupted across Iran. Millions of Iranians took to the streets, demanding an end to the regime. The government's response was brutal. On January 8, 2026, as protests intensified, authorities cut off all internet and phone service across the entire country, plunging 90 million people into total digital darkness. It became one of the most comprehensive and prolonged state-imposed internet blackouts in history. Human rights organizations described it as an attempt to conceal mass killings during the crackdown. Security forces were reportedly given full authority to use lethal force with the aim of creating maximum fear. The blackout devastated the economy. Iran's communications minister estimated the shutdown was costing the economy at least $33 million per day, with the true figure likely far higher. Online sales collapsed by 80%. The Tehran Stock Exchange lost hundreds of thousands of points. Businesses that depended on internet connectivity were paralyzed. Food shortages worsened. The currency continued to collapse. Even after internet service was partially restored in late January, severe restrictions remained. Most Iranians were only allowed to access pre-approved government websites under a whitelist system. Authorities used Chinese-provided surveillance technology, including facial recognition tools, to track and arrest dissidents. Starlink satellite terminals offered some Iranians a lifeline, but the government made possession of Starlink equipment punishable by 6 months to 10 years in prison, or even execution. Against this backdrop of internal collapse, the Trump administration ramped up pressure. In his State of the Union address in late February, Trump warned that Iran was rebuilding its nuclear program. He deployed a massive military armada to the region, 2 aircraft carrier strike groups, dozens of additional aircraft, and the largest concentration of American warplanes in the Middle East since 2003. 3 rounds of negotiations took place in Switzerland, with Oman mediating, but they collapsed. The U.S. demanded 0 uranium enrichment. Iran refused. The talks ended Thursday, February 26th, without a deal. 2 days later, the bombs started falling. What makes this conflict different from anything we have seen in the post-9/11 era is the sheer isolation of the United States on the global stage. Unlike the 2003 invasion of Iraq, where Washington at least assembled a coalition of the willing, in 2026, the only country fully backing the U.S. military operation is Israel. The UK reportedly refused to allow the US to use British air bases for strikes on Iran, forcing B-2 bombers to fly 18-hour missions directly from the continental United States. European nations, already strained by tariff disputes and what many describe as American coercion, are watching with alarm. Vice President J.D. Vance and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth have publicly stated the goal is not regime change, that the U.S. is at war with Iran's nuclear program, not Iran. But Trump himself openly contradicted them on social media, posting, "If the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change?" The contradictions within the administration are stark. There is no clear endgame. Intelligence assessments reportedly contradict the administration's public claims about the immediacy of the Iranian nuclear threat. There is no publicly available evidence that Iran made major progress in reviving its damaged nuclear program since the June strikes. The administration has not specifically accused Iran of renewing uranium enrichment, and yet the bombs are falling. Oil markets are already in turmoil. Iran is a founding OPEC member and a major producer. The Strait of Hormuz, through which roughly 20% of the world's oil supply passes, sits right in the theater of operations. Energy prices were already climbing to 6-month highs before today. The economic shockwaves from this conflict will be felt by every person on this planet. As of this recording, the situation remains deeply fluid and extremely dangerous. Iran has vowed a crushing response. The Revolutionary Guard's retaliatory missile launches appear to be just the beginning. The Houthis are back in the fight. Hezbollah, though severely weakened by last year's conflict with Israel, remains a wild card. Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, already fragile states, could be pulled into the maelstrom. Inside Iran, the population is caught between a collapsing regime and incoming American bombs. A nation already suffering from months of internet blackouts, energy crises, mass unemployment, and a brutal crackdown on protesters, now faces the terrifying reality of full-scale war. Trump's call for Iranians to take over your government may sound inspiring in a speech, but for ordinary Iranians hiding in their homes as explosions rock their cities, the reality is far more complicated and far more dangerous. Iran's Ministry of Interior has already issued a statement saying it would preserve order and peace, widely interpreted as a warning to protesters not to take advantage of the chaos to take to the streets. Iran's leading news agencies, IRNA and ISNA, have reportedly been hacked amid the attacks. The information landscape inside Iran is almost completely dark. The world is watching. Global markets will react violently when they open. Oil prices could spike to levels not seen in decades. Supply chains that were already strained will face new disruptions. Countries across the Middle East are bracing for spillover. We are living through a historic moment. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched the largest military operation against Iran in history. Whether this leads to the fall of the Iranian regime, a protracted regional war, or something no one can yet predict, one thing is certain: the Middle East and the world will never be the same after today. I will be covering this story as it develops. If you want to stay informed, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Share this video with anyone who needs to understand what is happening right now. Stay safe out there. The world is watching.